How do brands tend to structure their media budgets? Hey there, my name's Jesus Martinez, and I'm running Allocating Media, a San Diego production house where we create commercials and documentaries. And I recently had this perspective shift of like how different it is when you're talking to the owner of the company, to the marketing director, or even just to another smaller production house. They all have a different perspective and a different goal, right? When you're talking to the business owner, they want to see an X amount return on the video you're making them. So it starts to become a talk about numbers, sale, or what has worked in the past and how we can try to replicate something similar. Obviously, finances are very important because they want to spend the least and get the best return, usually. The other person, right? When we're talking about someone in charge of like a marketing department or so, they already have a number. They know what their budget is, and they might share that or try to see what they can make happen, especially if it's a lower budget for a certain number. But they mostly care that it gets done, and it gets done on time, and it gets done well, of course, right? And then I'd say there's the last category where it's more of a smaller production house or a smaller agency, and those are a little bit more harder to kind of work around because it tends to be more of a supportive role in terms of like they're already stuck on a budget, but they need so much work ahead of it. And I think it's all of these are very different conversations and very different approaches. But I think the more you do this, it's as it seems, you keep understanding and pick up on patterns and things that kind of signal what kind of a conversation you're meant to have, right? And I think that's like, it's the fun part about business, but it's also some of the most difficult where it's, if you don't land that yet, you won't close anything, right? So it all depends who you're talking to. You again, and I guess the last person I never mentioned would be like a producer. They 100% have a number already. And if you can meet that number and make their life easy, you're good. You're in as the production support with rentals and equipment, right? So various steps that I've realized you kind of juggle as you take on calls for different projects and different scales.